The music accompanies the movie. The music is very, very strong in the movie. Was it intended by you? Yeah, you're referring to the waltz. Is that correct? Well, the music. As far as the music is concerned, we discussed this, of course. We did preparatory work together with the actors, and we meditated about it. We withdrew, we thought about it, we pondered, we had a closed room where we all met. And I can say that music can accompany the scenes at the dinner table, for example, so as to create something common, something mutual, so that you don't need to communicate with the others. And sometimes it was quite funny when we did it, because we didn't have food with Gregorian music, but with polka and with waltz music rather. And this is really part of the movie. And this is also part of the question of the Jesuits, etc. And I thought it is absolutely right, but rather at two levels, really. On the one hand, you've got the reality, and on the other hand, you've got the movie where everything is slightly over the top. We used the music as a counterbalance. And this helps to demonstrate the institution in which the people live. It comes from a hi-fi, from a stereo that it really exists, that is in there, in the dining room. And this is the antithesis of what the audience might expect in this context. And the waltz was truly being played. We made the experience to have food to eat with the accompanying music of waltz, but then there's also dance music, pleasurable music, that is music that corresponds to something else, not what you can see in the movie. But then there are moments, other moments, this is something I realized, when the movie is more serious, when it is about to display the key moments of suffering of Andrea, then the movie is becoming more serious. And then we also use the music in this context, of course, and this brings us back to some lighter music. But as far as the music is concerned, we tried to make it more light-hearted, to make the whole movie more light-hearted. And we've also tried to do this for ourselves, so that we ourselves wouldn't take us too seriously. Peter Paul Hood, ZDF Dreisat Television. I've got two questions to the director and to Mr. Hennecke. Why did you choose André Hennecke as the Father Superior? And the question to Mr. Hennecke. Your Italian sounded very convincing. How did you learn Italian so well? Why André Hennecke? This is a very particular thing. We wanted to have an actor not from Northern Europe. I know that you don't consider yourselves of being Northern European, but rather Central European, but we want someone from Northern Europe. Well, and then I believe we didn't really know André Hennecke before, but he's a genius. André Hennecke is a genius, really. Especially when he plays Diablo. And his role is very complicated in Italian. He played a very complicated role, and only an artist can do this complicated role. We went to Venice in order to prepare the movie. We had several actors with us, and thanks to the assistance of Maria Giannani, who really want to do it this way. We said, okay, maybe we should go for an Italian. We contradicted ourselves. We wanted a foreigner, and then we said, no, an Italian. And he said, no, he went to Venice and we met. And I have to say, I immediately saw that André can absolutely represent what we needed for this role, and even more. He could even go beyond, even more that we hoped for. André has a whole body that represents movie. The whole body and the face is perfect for cinema. Apart from the fact that maybe this is not intended by himself. And as far as the Italian language is concerned, he obviously needed to study the Italian text, the script, without speaking the language at all. We were a little bit afraid at the beginning before the first scene in church, the scene we shot the church, and myself as well. And André went there, and we were completely overwhelmed because he had his monologue, his 10-minute monologue, and he probably didn't even know what he was saying, but he was very convincing, really. And they applauded in church, and this is not really possible. I have to say, I'm probably the only one in the room who has not seen the movie so far. I haven't got a clue. Maybe it's not even a good movie. I don't know. No, sorry, it was a joke. No, it's something very particular as far as the Italian language is concerned, because I had the English version, and then there was something about a 70-year-old abbot, and then I phoned and asked, is that correct? I'm not quite 70 yet. You can use makeup, of course, but I'm not 70, no. And they said, no, he saw you in Sophie Scholl in that movie, he wanted you to have it. And then I drove to Venice, and we met there, and I was dressed in, well, rather teenager clothes, so to speak, and then there were all the Padre Maestros, those who are below me, and they were all between 50 and 90, and they looked at me and they said, well, I am supposed to be the boss here? And then I asked him, what language do you shoot the movie? And he said, in Italian. But you can do it in English, he told me, and I thought about it, and I thought, well, in English? And then the movie will be released in Italian, and I speak in English. That is, I needed an Italian actor to dub my English part in the movie, and I said, well, this is a bit too complicated, isn't it? I wanted to read something from the Italian book. I only had the English version, as I said. Etc. It sounded so beautiful in Italian. It was much better. It fit for the movie. And then I said, after having read this Italian bit, okay, I'll do it in Italian, but I didn't know what that meant to me, of course, because sometimes directors do one take the long things, and I had a lot of longer scenes for myself, so it was my task to do it in such a way that the Italians who were present would understand it, so that you can release the movie like this, the way I spoke. So most of the time, Venice is a beautiful city, you can go out in the evenings, but I didn't have the time because I was busy studying Italian all the time, and we didn't discuss the fact if I could do it or not. He didn't ask me, okay, let me listen to your Italian. I just said, all right, I'm in, I'll do it. And there was this great scene in the church at night, 50 novices in the pews, and 50 people with camera and everything, the whole crew. And then it was up to me for the first time to present my Italian language, and Severo went to me and said, okay, you'll do it like this. If you don't feel comfortable, then we do 3 sentences and then a break, etc. And I said, okay, trust me. And then we did a rehearsal, and somehow it worked. Then there was a break, 1 second break, and all of a sudden they applauded in the church. They applauded and said, great, we'll do it, fantastic. And then I had the feeling that I needed as an actor, that I can manage to fill this role, that a priest, the priest, that wasn't really important to me because I'm not religious. I grew up in a communist family. What I can tell you, we grew up with Christian values. We were supposed to love our parents, we shouldn't steal, it was said we shouldn't kill anybody, of course, and then later